If I was retiring this year, here's exactly what I'd be doing. Now, I'll say that 2025 has definitely been interesting so far with everything that's been going on economically and with the tariffs. It's definitely been scary. So, here's what I would do to step into retirement confidently to make sure that I'm not taking on any unnecessary financial stress. All right, so the first thing that I would do is I would get laser focused on my expenses. It's sort of easy when you're working, you got money coming in, some of it's going towards your retirement savings, and the rest you can spend without too much worry. But that changes in retirement. There's no more money coming in from your work, so you really have to know where your money's going. So I would split your expenses into three categories. The first is your fixed expenses. So these are things that you know are going to come in every month or every year, and things that you have to spend your money on. So property taxes, your heating bill, food, any healthcare costs, any of those things that you have to spend your money on to live. The second category would be your discretionary items. So going out to eat, hobbies, travel, spending money on your grandkids, things that you don't have to do, but that you want to do. So you want to know this number so that you know what your retirement lifestyle is going to look like. And then the third category would be the one-offs. So a new vehicle, maybe a renovation to your home. So you really want to know these numbers, not because you want to restrict yourself in retirement, but you want to know what they are so that you can make sure that you're not going to run out of money. So the second thing that I would do is I would stress test my income plan. Once I know my spending, I want to have a clear and tax efficient income plan in retirement so I'm not paying any more tax than I need to. So that would include CPP and OAS. I would run the math and figure out what makes sense for my situation. I take a look at my registered accounts, so RSPs as an example. I wouldn't immediately default to just taking out the minimum once I'm forced to. I'd want to take a look at strategies where I draw them down more aggressively to reduce my lifetime tax bill. I'd have my tax-free savings account. Now, would I want to defer using those as long as possible, or would I be dipping into them for the one-off expenses like a new vehicle or maybe a renovation? Same idea with the non-registered account. And additionally, I want to make sure that that account is invested tax efficiently. So looking at what sort of interest, dividends, and capital gains I can expect. Now, most importantly, once I have an income plan, I want to stress test it. I want to see how I would react under a worst case scenario. So what if inflation is higher than I expected? Or what if my rate of return is lower than I expected? Or what if there are more one-off costs that I haven't accounted for, like healthcare or something of that nature? I want to make sure that I have nothing to worry about, even if the worst case scenario comes to fruition. The third thing that I would do is I would divide my portfolio into buckets. Now, the last thing that I want to do in retirement is panic sell when the market drops. So I would split my portfolio into three buckets. The first bucket is the money that I'm going to need to access over the first couple of years of retirement. Since I need this money fairly soon, that would be invested very conservatively. The second bucket is the money that I'll need from, let's say, years 3 to 8 of retirement. Again, I need that money fairly soon, so I wouldn't be taking on any huge risks in that bucket. And then the third bucket, that's the money that I don't need to touch for 8+ years in this scenario. So with that piece of the portfolio, I'd be willing to be more aggressive. The last thing that I would do is review my estate plan. Now, once I have a plan set and in place, I can see what sort of taxes my estate can expect upon my death. Now, this will tell me whether or not I have a good retirement withdrawal strategy in place, because if I'm leaving my kids with a huge tax bill, that means I'm not doing enough today to reduce my tax bill over my lifetime. So I'd want to review that to make sure that my withdrawal strategy is intact. Now, if I do have a large tax bill, here are some things that I could look at implementing. Start gifting some of that money to my kids today. So taking it out of my hands, and I might be getting taxed on it in a non-registered account. Whereas my kids could use that maybe to buy their first home, or put that towards their TFSA. Just get it out of my hands if it's going to end up in theirs anyway. If I do have a very large tax bill, I might explore looking at a life insurance policy to cover some of that off as well. If you're planning to retire in 2025, make sure that you get these 4 things right, because you only get one chance at it. For all of your retirement needs, check us out at transcanadawealth.com.